Hello beautiful people, welcome to the channel. The Witchy Goth here, hope you're doing well. Today's video all about Andrew Tate again. So what's been going on in the Tate world of manospherism and alpha males? Well, I woke up yesterday morning to see the headlines that he had been allowed to leave Romania and travel to the States. I must say I was very despondent about this because I have a feeling that he's probably never going to face the charges against him in Romania. I can only hope that justice will be served. My heart goes out to all the victims out there that are feeling the trauma from this, because their understanding is that they were going to get some form of justice through this, and now it looks as if this is just being swept under the carpet. Now, whether this was to do with Donald Trump or his administration or somebody else, we don't know. We don't have any facts on that. But what I will say is Donald Trump is a convicted rapist, and birds of a feather flock together. So I'm going to play what Tate said when he landed in Florida yesterday. Unfortunately, the sound on my laptop is not that loud. I need to get speakers for this because I've got speakers for my PC, but not for this one. PC does other things. It doesn't do the same as this. So let me play this. I'm going to put my microphone closer to the laptop so hopefully you can hear it. And we'll hear what he has to say.
How are you, Andrew? Listen. We live in a democratic society where it's innocent until proven guilty, and I think my brother and I are largely misunderstood. There's a lot of opinions about us, a lot of things that go around about us on the internet. We've yet to be convicted of any crime in our lives ever. We have no criminal record anywhere on the planet ever. Our case was dismissed on the 19th of December in Romania under the Biden administration, and our prosecutor recently decided, because we have no active indictment in court, to let us go and return. This is a democratic society. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, as my brother and I are, and I think it's extremely important that we stop allowing media spin, wrap-up smears, lies, or carefully constructed narratives from George Soros-funded operations trying to destroy the reputations of good people who have no intention to do anything other than follow the law.
Okay, so that is what Tate had to say. Now, first of all, yes, they do actually have a criminal record here in the United Kingdom. They owed tax to HMRC, the His Majesty's Revenue Services, and so they were forced to pay that back to, it was from the area down in the south of England, Devon and Cornwall. They were forced to pay that back. Now, good news about that is that money is going into charities for women who have been abused through SV, SA, DV or GRAPE, which I think is fantastic. But they owed that money, so yes, they were charged with that, they were found guilty, and that money had to be paid. So that's mistruth number one. Mistruth number two, he claimed that the case in Romania was dropped on the 19th of December under the Biden administration. Well, no, the case was not dropped. Now, those of you who don't understand how the legal process works, and this is how it works all around the world. Well, in most countries. In some, you might, end up being harry-carried. But, yeah. So, the prosecution brings evidence to the table and says, right, this is the evidence that we have. The prosecution in the Tates case in Romania has over 75,000 pieces of paper with all the evidence on, not to mention the video footage and the telephone message footage as well. And the Tate's lawyer, he goes in and gets certain pieces of evidence thrown out, and that goes back to the prosecution lawyers, the lawyers who are basically prosecuting Tate. So they have to either discard it or fix it up. So that is what happens in a case, because somebody said to me yesterday that if it were true, surely they would be in prison already. That's not how the law works. Unfortunately, I wish it did. But these guys are paying their lawyer a lot of money. does not mean just because they have been released from, or not released from Romania, but given the right to travel outside of Romania again, it does not mean that they are innocent. Okay, so please, please, please educate yourself a little bit about the law and how it works. So I'm going to read this article now from the BBC. It was released today at 1:16 Greenwich Mean Time, written by Mike Wendling and Kayla Epstein. Andrew and Tristan Tate, the controversial British-American social media influencers accused of rape, human trafficking and money laundering, have been freed from travel restrictions. Okay, so they're not innocent. They're not freed because the case has been dropped, but they have been freed from the travel restrictions which kept them in Romania. And this was after several high-level White House officials took an interest in their case. It's unclear what, if any, role Donald Trump's administration may have played in their release, but one of Trump's top envoys is said to have raised the case with Romania's Foreign Minister Emil Harazian at a security conference in Munich earlier this month. Tate rose to fame after appearing in the UK reality show Big Brother and later making a series of extreme and controversial statements about women and politics on social media. The pair ran a webcam business and were charged with human trafficking and rape, along with 2 Romanian female suspects in June 2023. They also face separate, unrelated allegations of rape and human trafficking in the UK and civil suits in the US and UK. They deny all the allegations, which their US lawyer calls defamatory and unequivocally false. On Thursday, the brothers arrived in Florida after previously being banned from leaving Romania, while the case against them is pending. Lawyers for the pair say they will return to Bucharest for court hearings. Now, they're supposed to go back to Bucharest on the 25th of March. Will that happen? Who knows? What I do know is that patriarchy protects patriarchy. Rapists protect rapists. Misogynists protect misogynists. Why? Because they still want to be able to do those things to women without facing any consequences. So what is the White House saying? When asked about the Tates at the White House on Thursday, President Trump said, "I know nothing about that." But the brothers have been the subject of recent high-level discussions between the US and Romania. Romanian officials say US counterparts brought up the brothers' case with the Romanian government earlier this month, a story first reported by the Financial Times. And Trump's special envoy, Richard Grenell, raised the issue again at a security conference in Munich. That was happening in Munich because of the issues between Russia and Ukraine. The Tate brothers are Trump supporters and also have ties to figures in his administration. One of Tate's lawyers now works as a White House liaison to the US Justice Department. Paul Ingrassia was a part of a team representing the Tate brothers in a defamation lawsuit they filed in Florida against several of their alleged victims. Ingrassia also acted as Tate's publicist and says he got the influencer onto a show hosted by Tucker Carlson, the former Fox News host. He has praised Tate in online posts. In one dating from July 23, he called Tate an extraordinary human being who was offering a dying West some hope for renewal. Ingrassia did not respond to a request for comment on Thursday. The Tates have also been talked about by several people in Trump's orbit, including Donald Trump Jr. and Elon Musk. Trump Jr. once called Tate's detention in Romania absolute insanity. Musk reinstated Andrew Tate's account, which had been banned on X, Twitter, and suggested perhaps in jest that Tate would make a good UK Prime Minister. Really? I don't think the UK wants a rapist in the government. Alleged rapist. Joseph McBride, a lawyer representing the Tates in a defamation case they have filed against several of their accusers in Florida, said in a statement, they feel secure in America for several reasons, the primary one being that Donald Trump is the president. And there we go. The birds of a feather flock together. The convicted rapist, Donald Trump, is protecting the alleged rapists, the Tates. This is so unfair on the victims. And in fact, the victims have stated that they are now being re-traumatized by this, and they will be, because that is what happens if you are a victim of these kind of things. I myself am a victim of rape. I'm now a survivor. And various different kinds of SA, SV and DV. But this is one crime, and I had discussions with many people yesterday on feeds around this, that rape is the one crime where the victim has to prove that it happened. In every other crime, that's not the case. So Tate said in this that innocent until proven guilty. Now, I said to somebody yesterday, it shouldn't be that way for rapists. It should be guilty until proven innocent. In other words, they're guilty until they can provide proof that they didn't do it, rather than the victim having to hand over their phone, be told that they were wearing the wrong outfit, that they were inebriated, that they did this, that and the next thing, instead of the victim being made to feel small, being made out to be the actual accuser and false allegations. And as I said in a video that I released last night, in a period in, I think it was a 17-month period, I can't remember the year, I think it was 2013, the CPS released figures that there were 5,600 rape cases over that 17-month period that were prosecuted. In other words, those people were sent to jail. In that same time frame, there were 35 prosecutions of false allegations. So you tell me that there are more false allegations than not, because I know there aren't. The statement alleged that the Tates and brothers are victims of weaponized legal systems and politically motivated prosecutions. No, they're not. They're not victims. They're perpetrators. They have done things that they shouldn't have done. They have treated women like dirt. We've seen footage of this. We've heard footage of this. We've heard Tate say that he enjoyed raping this woman. That was his own message on the phone, on a cell phone. McBride did not respond to questions on whether White House officials played any role in the removal of travel restrictions against the Tate brothers. The article then goes on to talk about the manosphere and Trump supporters split and so on. I'm not going to read that. If you want to, you can go and read that. But Ron DeSantis, he is the governor of Florida, made a statement yesterday, and he said that Florida is not a place where you're welcome. So I'm going to play this clip for you. It's from NBC News. I hope that this plays and that you can hear it. So let's put my microphone close to the laptop again.
Where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. And I don't know how it came to this. We were not involved. We were not notified. I found out through the media that this was something that was happening. Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction, whether they want to rebuff his entry into the United States, and I have confidence that whether it's Pam Bondi or Kristi Noem, that they will be looking at that. I do know our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is looking at what state hooks and jurisdiction we may have to be able to deal with this. But the reality is no, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. And I don't know how it came to this.
Okay, so there you go. Ron DeSantis, the governor, saying they're not welcome there. Rightly so, because two of the victims in Florida were doxxed by the Tates, were harassed by the goons and henchmen of the Tates, and they had to move. They had to change their names because of what was happening. They were being threatened to drop the case. If they weren't guilty, why would they have done that? Why would the Tates have sent their goons and henchmen out to do that? Because if they weren't, if they were innocent, they wouldn't have to do that, would they? They wouldn't be afraid of that happening to them. So my good friend Gadget, who has done so much research into the Tates, and please go check out his website again. Here he is. Brilliant investigator on the Tates. So he put a post up yesterday, which I saw. Statement from Matthew Jury, lawyer representing 4 of Andrew Tate's alleged victims of rape and violent or essays in the UK after the decision by Romanian prosecutors to allow the Tates travel to the US. The news that pressure by the Trump administration has led to Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan being allowed to leave Romania by its authorities is equal parts disgusting and dismaying. There is clear evidence to support the allegations against Tate that he is one of the world's worst human traffickers and sexual rapists. That the US government would choose to lobby for his release is absurd, but sadly, given its actions over the past month, perhaps unsurprising. And yeah, we can all see what's been happening in the States in the news. Any suggestion that the Tates will now face justice in Romania is fanciful. Exactly what I said. Will they actually go back on the 25th of March? The UK authorities must take immediate steps to secure their extradition to the UK to face charges for the offences of human trafficking and rape they are alleged to have committed in this jurisdiction. Romania has embarrassed itself. The UK must not do the same. 10 Downing Street was aware this may happen more than a week ago. The fact that nothing seems to have been done to prevent it is concerning. One can only hope action will now be taken. Given that Keir Starmer is in the US today to meet with Donald Trump, perhaps his team may take the opportunity to raise this issue on behalf of the many British women who Tate is alleged to have raped and essayed, who may now be denied justice. Yeah. I don't think that Keir Starmer would have been in the right position to bring this up yesterday with his meeting with Donald Trump. This is a legal issue. Keir Starmer was a barrister and was the head of the Crown Prosecution Service here in the United Kingdom. So he is well aware of the law and the procedures, but I am sure that they are undergoing and undertaking the necessary legal actions in order for that to happen. So it may be the case that if they don't go back to Romania on the 25th of March, that then the UK starts extradition treaties with the Tate brothers in the States. Because it was promised that once Romania had finished with the Tates, that they would be extradited to the United Kingdom to face these charges. So we can only hope that that's what happens. But I don't think that Keir Starmer would want to get his hands dirty in this because, well, he's not Donald Trump, is he? Keir Starmer is a sir. He's a knight of the realm. Why would he dirty his hands with the dirty and disgusting behaviour that is this Trump administration? So yesterday I made comments on Gadget's post, and it's really funny because when you look at this, I'm going to link that on my in my discussion box below as well, and I got the vast majority of responses. I got 34 replies here, all of them little Tatertots, except for 1 or 2, I think. So I'm going to read out some of these because it is hilarious to see how many little boys, and yeah, they may be grown men, but they're still little boys at heart, don't like strong alpha women. So I said, this has made me so angry. It has triggered me. Once again, the rapists go free and the victims deal with the trauma. It is so unfair. And that is true. That is so true. And Golden Ram 31 says, so true, ugh. M. Shearer 5233 says, do you have evidence? And I have already said that there is evidence. It is available. You can go and check out Gadget's information. I've also posted about it on my page. There is, on my YouTube channel, there is a section 4, a playlist of the Andrew Tate stuff that I have saved some of it from Gadget, some of it from Murdered by Crayons and various other sources, as well as my own videos that I have done. It's a 4-part series on that. So I responded, then Teen in Cove 1726, or Tree in Cove, sorry, said, you need evidence if you're going to throw around such accusations. This isn't a fantasy movie where you can just say things and that makes it true. All of these little boys are protecting and standing up for rapists and sex traffickers. Why? Are they that way inclined? So I responded to Shira5233, 75,000 pages. I suggest you watch Gadget's videos, and I've also covered the Tates. It saddens me how many men support rapists, and I actually got 4 likes on that response. Also to M. Shira, I wrote, do you have evidence to prove their innocence? I can tell you that I believe the victims always. To Tree in Cove, I said there are 75,000 pages of evidence, there are 45 victims, I believe them. Tate has outed himself on so many of his videos. I feel saddened that so many men support rapists and traffickers. It says a lot about them. Mohammed Usman says, I don't believe you, feminist. And I asked him why. No response. Tree in Cove said, one goth, I love you. That's my handle on YouTube. Jack Howes said, always believe the victims. So I presume you still think Johnny Depp abused Amber Heard, even though we all saw the court day and how innocent he was. Now, innocence is subjective because the jury has to have beyond a reasonable doubt. So obviously there was doubt around this. My own thoughts are, I still think that Depp was in the wrong. I saw footage of him ripping apart the kitchen. I saw footage of him smashing up and tearing Amber Heard's clothing. And I know from my own experience that that is what narcissists do. And Johnny Depp is a narcissist. And no, since those cases, I've not watched any of his movies and I never will. I said to Jack Howes, yes, I do. I saw the footage of him smashing up the kitchen. Innocence was not proven. What was proven is that there was insufficient evidence to convict. And then to Tree in Cove, I wrote back, I love me too. Jack Howes then said, it's a thing in democracy we have called innocent till proven guilty. Until a judge proves your guilt and sentences you, you should always be presumed innocent. That's how the law has always been, except with the Tates for some reason. Well, no, it still is. It still is. They are still presumed innocent until proven guilty. M. Shearer says, the Tates are the victims in this case 1000%. Yeah, right. Jack Howes responds, smashing up a kitchen isn't abuse. We saw her smacking him. Isn't that abuse under the guise of equality? And he also says, we also saw her blatantly lying about things to make him seem worse. A constant change in story and stuttering over certain questions with fake tears. Not how a victim would act. So I answer, so tell me, how would a victim act? You're obviously a forensic psychologist with your deductions here. And then I also wrote, or was she defending herself? And yes, smashing a kitchen is a form of abuse. It shows unregulated behaviour, which was done deliberately to scare her. Are you defending his actions? Is that something you would do? Did you see what he did to her clothes? More dysregulated behaviour. And I do some laughy faces at Shearer. So you think having, this is in his response to the fact that the Tates are 1000% guilty. So I put, so you think having sex with a 15-year-old is acceptable, that grape is acceptable, that human trafficking is acceptable. So glad I don't personally know you. If you think that, it is acceptable behaviour. Ugh. I also responded to him saying, I know that what the law says. However, when it comes to rape, it is the only crime, this is what I've said before, where the victim has to provide the evidence. Therefore, the law needs to change and the accused should have to prove their innocence. Do you know how few false rape claims are prosecuted compared to the actual rape cases prosecuted? I talk about it in the figures of my latest video. Have a look. Oh, and those figures are available from the government's CPS website, which I mentioned earlier. 5,600 cases of rape prosecuted over a 17-month period. Over that same period, 35 cases of false allegations were prosecuted. Petri Temisiva says, are you insisting that Andrew is delusional? He has used every preliminary chamber hearing arguing that some of the evidence should be ruled inadmissible. Is he fighting against something that does not even exist? On December the 19th, the Court of Appeals ruled that 70,000 plus pages of evidence can be used against Tate during the trial. That's the 19th of December. So Tate said that he was freed on the 19th of December. He wasn't. Pertl Temisiva also says, is reading legal documents a challenge for you? Read the indictment and court transcripts. If you don't understand something, I can explain it to you. Exactly what my response was, you know, educate yourself. Because coming on here and saying, oh, they're free, they're innocent, they're free, makes you look like a fool. And Petri also responds to Jack House, saying innocent until proven guilty refers only to the necessity of fair, unbiased judicial process. It does not prevent general public from forming and voicing their opinions once they have seen the evidence. Tates have been treated just like any other suspects. True. Jack House said to me, based on your logic, any woman should be able to accuse a man of rape. Then it's his responsibility to prove he didn't do it. That just incentivizes women to accuse a man she doesn't like of heinous crimes without taking responsibility if she has lied. Well, no, because I just told you that 35 cases were found to be false allegations. If the man is not guilty, he wouldn't be bothered by that, would he? Petri says, luckily in Romania, false accusations are punishable by up to 5 years. Statistically, of the cases ending being prosecuted, less than 2% are deemed having based on false accusations. But you are correct, it is the duty of the prosecutor to prove the guilt beyond reasonable doubt. One should not have to prove his innocence. Statistics in the US may have different percentages, and I'm obviously quoting statistics from the United Kingdom. Petri, I sent him a message saying, I believe that for rape, SA, SV and DV, it should be the other way around. Like I said, it is the only crime where the victim has to bring the proof forwards. And then the victim is blamed for it happening. Oh, you were asking for it. Look how you were dressed. You were drunk. It's male privilege. To Jack, I say, just think about what you have written here, because that's exactly what the victims of rape go through. Men assume women would do the same as men, but we don't. I released a video, go watch it, that shows how many cases of rape, and again, I'm talking about the same thing, were found to be guilty. Tree & Co says, let's get married. Yo. Victor 1V4486 says, justice does not exist. Whoever holds the power will decide the outcome. And he is right. Definitely. Whoever holds the power. And in this case, Trump. And he even says here, Trump is currently doing whatever the F he wants and nobody can say anything. And he's right. And then to Tree and Cover, I say, ha 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 ha, no. Quite happy on my own, thank you. Kamala says, if those 75,000 pages had been enough evidence for a conviction, they would have been in trial already. And as I explained, that his lawyers have been trying to get certain pieces of evidence thrown out, and that's what takes the time. That's why they're not yet in prison. And I go on to mention that to him, and he response to me saying, first off, a judge in Bucharest recently sent the case back to DICOT because it was flawed. That's exactly what I'm saying. The evidence was insufficient. It was one page. Have a look at Gadget's stuff. And the indictment didn't meet legal standards. That's a big deal in Romania courts. They don't do that unless the prosecution case is seriously shaky. And again, it comes down to the fact that obviously Tate's got good lawyers. He's got a lot of money, so he's paying his lawyer through all of the money that he's making off of your Bitcoin stuff. The payments that you make into Tate every month to be in his war room and on his courses and whatnot, and the Matrix. You know, that's what lawyers do. That's what defense lawyers do. Then there's the time factor. It's been over 2 years since they were arrested in December 22, and DICOT still hasn't managed to get solid trial going. In Romanian law, if they had strong evidence like witness statements, documents, or tech proof that actually held up, this would have gone to court ages ago. Instead, they've dragged it out, changed charges, and faced criticism for irregularities. It shows they're grasping at straws trying to build a case without the goods. No, it shows that Tate's lawyer is grasping at straws. Mogul 8822 says, I agree with everything you said. However, having to prove my innocence only incentives, that's what he's written, women to accuse. No, it doesn't. It means incentivizes. It doesn't. A woman is not going to accuse a man of rape. There may be some. And as I said, 5,600 cases of rape were prosecuted in the same time frame. 35 cases of false accusations were prosecuted. Women very rarely go to the police anyway to report rape because they're embarrassed, because they know they're going to be treated like absolute ladies of the night by the prosecutors, by the judges, by the juries. They're going to be judged on their clothing, on their where they were at the time, what they were doing, were they inebriated? And that shouldn't be the way. And he says, what's his name says again, study law and you will see whatever you say is nonsense. The burden of proof, he says, lies with the accuser. Yes, I know this. What I'm saying is that it should change. It should change for rape. It should be that the perpetrator, the alleged perpetrator, has to prove that they were not a rapist. But instead, the victim has to prove that they were raped. Do you know that the vast majority of rapes occur in marriage and in relationships by their own partners? Yeah. So, I have my beliefs, you guys have your beliefs. It just shows how men think these comments. They think that women are there to be raped, that is their lot in life. And they worship these two so-called alpha males who are the scum of the earth. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Under his eye.